A few days ago I bought this watch, and the truth is that the quality of it really impressed me. Now I started thinking about whether an affordable watch can be high quality, and as I see it, I believe there are watches, especially in the realm of affordable watches, that definitely give you more for your money. And I think that this Aviate is the perfect example. Now I want to make this very clear. This video is not sponsored. Nobody sent me the watch. In fact, I don't think the brand knows who I am. And I bought this watch with my own money. When you're looking for a watch on a budget, I think you're looking for some very specific things. The main thing I believe is, of course, an attractive design, but I also think you're looking for build quality, a good price quality ratio. But what does this mean? Well, that at least the perceived value of what you're buying is higher than what you paid for. Now, value can come in many forms: status, quality, design. But talking about these affordable watches, and especially those that could be called new brands, because these are not considered micro brand because they are big, they have to focus on design and quality. Now, why do I say that this brand could not be considered a micro brand? Well, because it is a conglomerate of watch brands that produce millions and millions of watches per year. Now, if you don't know this, Aviate is the sister brand of Spinnaker, and as far as I know, the conglomerate own other watch brands. Now, these two main brands have an interesting focus because Spinnaker takes inspiration on pure diverse watches, and Aviate, as its name suggests, takes inspiration from aviation. Now, why do I think that this is a good strategy that benefits customers? Well, it's very simple, and I've already said it when we talked about the Swatch Group conglomerate. These types of conglomerates help the brands to lower their prices while maintaining good quality. For example, in this case, usually their watches use Miyota or Seiko movements, which we already know are made of good quality. But just as an example, imagine each brand plans to produce 3 million watches per year, which of course might not be actual numbers, but this is just for an example. So if the conglomerate owns 3 or 4 brands, let's say they are planning to make 12 million watches a year. So if you go to Seiko or Miyota and say, hey, I'm going to make 12 million watches, I need 12 million of your movements, of course they will be able to give you a lower price than if you would only buy 3 million movements. So I think this helps a lot in maintaining quality and lowering prices. And surely this applies to 90% of the components of these watches. Now, I'm not saying that these watches are the best quality or the best watches or that they have the best construction. But I believe that when you take everything into account, and especially the price, and you analyze the materials and the construction and the design and even the movement and the packaging, you can see that this is one of the watches that gives you the most for the price. Now, the example I want to use is this Aviate Hawker Ace of Spades. And when I saw it and I had it in my hands, it helped me understand why this has become such a popular brand. Or at least also to wonder why popular brands don't do more things like this. Like I said, it is a brand inspired by airplanes, and generally it will have details that demonstrate all of this inspiration. And let's start from the back, because generally when a brand buys generic movements to put in their watches, what they do is that they either don't show them or they just make a rotor with their logo and that's it. But in this case, it doesn't happen. The brand decided to have the rotor be the interior of a turbine, which is beautiful. And of course, this is a Miyota movement, and as we know, this movement only winds in one direction and it rotates freely in the other, which helps the turbine rotate and looks very nice. And this movement is the same that we get in the Mat 1 watches. Now, these are the kind of details that I really like and that I feel many brands could replicate For example, just an example, Tissot that has all this MotoGP heritage. Why not make a rotor with a motorcycle rim? I think there is so much creativity to be done and so little desire for innovation. And then we go to the dial, which certainly made me feel like I was inside an airplane cabin. We have an extremely industrial look with screws and gauges. And once you have this watch in your hands, you perfectly realize the aviation inspiration that this brand has. The 24-hour indicator that looks like a radar, everything looks like it has great inspiration in an airplane cabin. And what I like about watches is that sometimes there is a specimen for which you don't have to spend a lot of money, but you get a piece that makes you feel something. And at least to my point of view, that's what it's all about. This brand gives you good quality at a fairly acceptable price, which is around $350 for this watch. With all these little details of the rotor, the dial, the screws, everything that encompasses this watch is what I believe makes these types of watches worth it for beginners. Because if you go to a watch store, all watches are the same. Simple dials, diving bezels, steel bracelets, everything is very similar. So the fact that you can have a watch with different details makes all the difference in the world and can help to shape future collectors. Because I believe this watch has the potential to make you want more. Because generally, this level of detail and decoration in terms of aesthetics, we only find in much more expensive watches. So I think that's a factor that can make you delve a little more into the world of watchmaking that these watches have. And I really want to make it clear that this video was not sponsored or paid for by this brand. In fact, I'm the one that paid for it, so go to a Chandra watch company. I actually doubt that Aviate knows that I exist. But these watches came to me and I bought them, and when I saw them, this topic came to my mind and here we are. So let me know what do you think in the comments down below.